Good morning, everybody. Got a little surprise for you this morning.
Hello there. Good morning.
So Celine, my sister, is here again. And she has a little surprise for you as well. But first of all, we'll enjoy this beautiful sunrise. And we will enjoy the scripture words, which are delightful. Well, kind of rough stories. There's 2 leprosy cases in the book of Leviticus, and the healing of a leper, and that was a good thing. And he was actually very, very forward. He kind of challenged God. If you want, you can heal me. Imagine challenging God for something we need, something we really need, something that will. Who is not a leper? We all have something. And we can say to God, if you want, you can heal me.
Yes, indeed. And I think that's our daily experience. Now that we're coming up to Lent, it's a wonderful preparation in today's liturgy to be aware of our limits and to reach out to the good Lord, knowing He is full of mercy.
If you want, you can heal me. That's amazing.
He twisted Jesus' arm.
Like, how could Jesus not want to heal a leper, especially knowing Jesus? Interesting how some people have that nerve to push Jesus, that faith. Like the woman with her daughter, and she was content to ask for the crumbs that fall from the table. She wasn't pushed back by the challenge Jesus gave her. He said, no, it's not, this isn't for you. And she said, wait a minute, even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from the table. What a great way to approach Jesus. That light on the water is marvelous. And there we got a bird spreading its wings together, a little warmth. Those black wings. You see it there in the sunlight, just in the edge of the sunlight, in the middle of that line. It's a cormorant, I think. It's always interesting to see how they spread out their wings to catch more heat. At least that's what I think they're doing. See it in the chilly mornings more. So it was a horrible situation to be a leper. How many lepers are out there today? Thanks be to God, the disease is pretty cured. Great progress in medicine. Socially excluded. People who are socially excluded. Maybe it's a child in a playground. Maybe it's because they're immigrants. Have you ever thought of reaching out to somebody who is excluded? It's a beautiful thing when parents teach their children to do that. Because natural repugnance is normal. There's some things that are nice. Some people that don't dress well. Some people that maybe are not very good at their hygiene. And little children are very critical and can be very harsh. It's understandable, but the education that parents give them, or grandparents can be great educators to be able to help a child to stretch their mind and their heart, to make space for others who would be naturally repugnant. How do we develop a culture that can embrace the ones the majority exclude? What needs to change in our natural reaction mechanisms? That's something for thinking about, isn't it? Food for thought.
Yeah.
I heard a wonderful commentary from Bishop Barron this morning about these readings. I really recommend everybody to listen to that homily today. It's absolutely marvelous. Word on Fire, Bishop Barron, and it points out various things. But he was talking about worship and liturgy as a source of prevention of leprosy in the soul. And when people don't practice, he commented how Nigeria has 94% of the population go to church. And probably in the Western Europe, and maybe it's 94% don't go. And how this affects, for example, depression, how it affects... Depression is a very hard issue, isn't it? How it affects self-esteem, how it affects many other things, attitudes towards other people. And that's the beautiful thing about the second reading today. The second reading has two keys which are the opposite to leprosy. Look at all these birds coming. The second reading talks about giving glory to God and about adapting to others, which really means taking care of their needs. Adapting to others and taking care of their needs. Adapting to even a prisoner. Adapting to somebody that's an intruder. A child that's very self-centered and noisy. How do you help to make a connection? And there's today is a day for prayer for the sick. And the message Pope Francis has given us is very thoughtful, very interesting. He says, it's not good for a human being to be alone, from the Genesis verses. And there we have that marvelous attitude of accompanying people who are sick, to visit the sick. Is there somebody you know that could do it with a little visit today? And that's what Jesus does with the leper. He reaches out to the leper. Who do we need to reach out to today? And there could be different types of things bothering people. Obviously, cancer is very severe, depression. Maybe there are other things as well. Maybe there are relationship difficulties. And this week we're going to be celebrating St. Valentine's Day and relationships and all the healing of relationships that's needed. That second reading could be very helpful in that regard. And the celebration of marriage, two people who love God with all their heart and all their soul and all their strength, and love each other unconditionally in good times or bad times. Celine, what do you want to say about all this?
Well, I was thinking that Sunday is a beautiful day to do something for others, because we're normally very busy. We normally have a very tight schedule with work, with family activities, etc. But on a Sunday, we're given this day to rest. The day that reflects the Lord's day of rest. When he looked around and he saw everything was very beautiful, he saw that all that he had made was so wonderful. And we can look back at our week and thank God for the blessings we've had this past week. And then the other thing about Sunday is it gives us time to reach out to people, just like you were saying a few minutes ago. And there may be someone in the neighborhood, a family, a relative, maybe someone in the workplace that maybe just to meet for a cup of tea, cup of coffee, maybe a phone call, maybe a little video message to encourage a person who's elderly in a nursing home. And all that can go a long way. And so at the end of the day, it's nice to look back and see how we lived our Sunday. All for the glory of God, like we hear in the second reading. Do it all for God's glory. But to have that joy on a Sunday night to say, yes, there was this time of prayer. There was this time of reaching out in good deeds. It was this time of relaxation and contemplation of all God's work in my day, in my life, in my week.
Thank you, Celine. And Celine is going to start reaching out now and reaching out to people far away from here.
Yes, God willing. This week I'll be heading to Mexico and be there on the evening of Ash Wednesday. And then visiting Guadalajara, which is the first city I was assigned to back in 1980 for 9 years. So the children I had in school, I saw them grow up and come into preschool and go all the way up into middle school. Some of them go from primary school into high school, and see the parents expecting a child and the birth of the child and all the entering into school, the first day at school, and all those memories, and spending days in the classrooms. And I know all those people so well, and many of them now are planning on their retirement. So many years have passed.
Grandparents, maybe?
Yes, they are grandparents. Many of them are grandparents already. But that 1980, we're talking about now 44 years.
Wow.
This year.
So if they were 5, 6, 7 years old, they're in their
50s.
into their 50s already.
Yeah.
Or advanced in their 50s.
Yes, yes. So it's a real blessing to be able to go back and meet them and share a life journey that they've had, that I've had, and just to glorify God for what he has done in our lives. And of course many of them have done beautiful things for others, are involved in different apostolic works and outreach work with people around them. So it'll be a time, I hope, of celebration, and also in this Lent to notice who might need an extra word, an extra act of kindness, to visit the sick, the elderly. Of course I knew all those people's parents as well, all those young children. I knew their parents, and
so they're now in their 70s,
yeah,
80s.
70s and 80s, and to have a moment with them as well, to encourage them and to help them.
And what about retreats and things in Lent?
Yes, absolutely. There'll be retreats and talks in Guadalajara, in Aguascalientes and Zacatecas, where I also worked for several years, and at Saltillo, and then other cities that I knew, because I used to travel through several cities setting up youth groups over those years that I was in Mexico, 14 years in all. So I don't think I'll end up seeing all those people, but at least a good number.
You won't have a dull moment.
Yeah.
And you're only going to Mexico?
Then from there I go on the 8th of March to the United States, beginning in Florida and moving up, and then also North Carolina, California, starting at Seattle. And
Seattle is
down.
not California, is it?
I know, north of California. And there's a pastor there who invited me to speak at his for his congregation. And then moving down through the state, a women's group in San Francisco, and even a cousin of ours who lives between San Diego and Los Angeles, and then in San Diego, please God, and then Chicago. So that's quite a journey, and hopefully Detroit as well. We're just looking into that at the moment.
So what kind of communities are you meeting there in the States?
I was in the States for 17 years, so I know a lot of people already, and at schools, of course, there are my past pupils as well who've now grown up and have their own families young parents. And as well as that, because of our work here in Magdala, our meeting so many pilgrims from all over the world, many pastors have been inviting me to speak to their
When you say pastors, what do you
congregations.
mean?
Well, they're from different Protestant backgrounds, different Christian backgrounds, and non-denominational, etc.
And you're going to speak in their churches?
Yes, they've asked me to speak to their congregations in different locations. So in North Carolina, in Seattle, as I mentioned, and in Detroit. At least those three for the moment, and there are others. Well, we'll see how it all pans out. But if any of you are in any of those areas, maybe you can let me know and I'll connect with you. If you put a comment there, I can reach out to you through Facebook, and then we can see where we might be able to join and meet.
Okay, and what's your name on Facebook, Celine?
Oh, I don't know that by heart. I can give it to you and you can
Well,
put
it's
it there.
Celine Kelly. You know Kelly people, so that'll be
Yeah.
one anyway.
Yeah.
Very good. So Mexico and the United States,
Yes,
a trip
and then,
coming up to do retreats
later-
and talks.
And later in Guatemala, please God, in May for a conference on the women of the gospel, flowers of Galilee.
Fantastic.
We put it all in God's hands, so I really count on your prayers for all those people, that God will bless us all in this process, and that this Lent be full of blessings for everybody.
Wonderful. So we'll do a little selfie moment together so you can see that I'm still here. And don't forget about the pilgrimage, people. We're going to have the pilgrimage starting tomorrow. The first introductory talk, Kathleen's great work. She has worked very, very hard on this for quite some time, preparing this pilgrimage for you for Lent. So go and check out and sign up for it. God bless you. See you later, alligators. What a glorious morning.
God bless.
Blessed Sunday to everybody.
Beautiful. Thank you all very much.